Hey everyone, coming up in our 43rd episode extravaganza, we are putting the four major attractions in Seuss Landing head-to-head to help decide which one will be a part of the Universal Hall of Fame. Will it be High in the Sky, Seuss Trolley Train Ride, The Cat in the Hat, Caro-Seuss-el, or One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish? Or will it be all of them? Or will it be none of them? Or will it be two of them? We'll find out more. Live from the Bob Varley studio, this is the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. This is episode 43 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. As I've already said, and I will say it again and again and again until it stops being true. I am your host, Craig Williams, and joining me today is Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
Also joining me is Jenny Lindop.
Hello.
Nope. Slipped out of my mouth there. And back on the controls, our producer, Dustin T. West.
That's right. Get it right or pay the price.
The T stands for
The.
Dustin the West.
Dust in the West.
Sorry, that hit us at the same time.
Okay.
Wow, great.
Yeah, we all know how to say stuff. We all can speak. So we have a very, very big episode coming up where we are talking about the four Seuss attractions. So yesterday we went to Universal to start preparing for a topic, for a subject to do this show on, and we had no idea what we were going to do. It was all very last second, so if it all feels very last second, we apologize for that, but at least we're staying true to our guns. And so somehow it was because Rhino is dealing with some alcohol issues right now, and that he can't get enough of it. And so he wanted,
is that an issue?
First thing, to go straight back to Three Broomsticks so he can get the special version of the Long Island iced tea that's made in the Wizarding World of Harry.
Hogshead tea. Yeah.
Yes, the Hogshead Long Island iced tea. And so, of course, to get back there, we started walking through Seuss Landing, and all of a sudden, it just sprung into, well, we're going to go on Cat in the Hat because it only has a 10-minute wait. And then from there, it was, Seuss Trolley Train Ride, because that was only a 10-minute wait, but really only about a 5-minute wait. And then at that point, we figured, well, why don't we just do Caro-Seuss-el and One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. And so that's where we figured out that we would do this. But before we really jump into that and get into all that excitement, I want to start with our brief housekeeping. And I think we have a really exciting housekeeping to talk about because it has to do with us specifically. So for those of you who have been watching, you'll know that on our first episode back for the year, we talked about our personal resolutions for Universal. And what Jenny Lynn's resolution is that she was going to watch all of the Harry Potter movies,
which I did,
to better understand. And yes, you did in preparation for the celebration of Harry Potter that we attended. My resolution was that I was going to go watch Barney, which still hasn't happened. Dustin's was
that I would go to Mardi Gras, so I gotta wait till next year.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's right.
Well, you still have 6 months left for yours, Craig.
So I'm going to get mine in. So even if we complete 3 out of 4, that ain't bad.
Yeah, Dustin's resolution is dust in the wind.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nailed it. That was a good one. I am jealous of that one.
Are ya?
Are there... Wait, okay. So are there...
on my team
Are there any
here.
more concerts, period, for the rest of the year at Universal?
Rock the Universe.
No, well, what about... does Mannheim Steamroller count?
Sure.
It's not a concert
Mannheim
series,
Steamroller.
is it?
Well, it technically is because they usually play 3 weekends.
Because I was going to say
during Christmas time.
We could do an addendum to his resolution and make him go to a concert.
Yeah, but
So
those are
it's
really
still not like a
difficult
fail.
because we're usually always busy on the weekends in December if we're not traveling somewhere else. So
Not only that, he still won't benefit from catching beads and those types of things.
Oh, that's
Right.
true, yeah.
Yeah, no, so you know what? I was there with you guys in spirit this year, and then I'll be there in body and mind next year.
Let's just put it this way. At least he doesn't have to come up with a new resolution next year, and he can just use the same one.
Right.
So,
Just coasting
I
through life
win.
there, buddy.
just like all those people who say they're going to lose weight every year, it's always the same one. But yes, the only reason I bring this up is because someone else on the team has finished their resolution, and if it wasn't me, and it wasn't Jenny Lynn, and it definitely wasn't, well, you already did, and if it definitely wasn't Dustin because his resolution's no longer possible, then that means it was Rhino. So Rhino, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your resolution was for those of you who
Don't remember.
and explain what we did.
My original resolution was to do one of the outdoor roller coasters at wherever. Not wherever. At
Universal
Studios, Florida. So either of the two parks, and yesterday I was forced into one. So that was why I
Almost
needed
had
the
to push
alcohol.
him into the seat.
Well, I knew I would get brave enough if I had at least a drink, and I should probably had more than one, but because by the time we got to the ride, I wanted to run away. So we did the Dragon Challenge. We did the Blue Dragon. We sat the front row.
That's the Hungarian horntail, right?
Ooh. No, that's, yeah, I don't know which one's which, but
Yes.
I didn't care in the moment. I just cared that I was about to see my own death. And I'm here living today to talk about it. I kept my eyes open for the hill.
And then after that,
the very
he saw
end.
nothing.
Yeah, which makes no sense to me because
That's
literally the worst part is watching yourself get higher and higher and knowing that you can't control anything.
But if you fell out of your
Once-
seat, there's still a thing I could fall on. I wasn't going to die. I was just going to fall in the middle right below
Yeah,
me.
but they have the seatbelt that would protect you from ever falling out
Well,
of your seat.
in my brain, it's not just like the ride falls apart like under regular science. It's that Magneto's come along and all the pieces have been separated at once and whoops.
If that case, then you would fall down. The stairs that were below you would also come apart, and then you would have also a heavy staircase landing on you, making it
Well, and a
an
roller
even
coaster
more
on top of
painful
me
death.
too, I
Yeah.
guess, but
So your logic is extremely flawed. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I just have a uncontrollable fear of heights, and I try to push myself through it. But there are places where I stand sometimes, and I can feel it happening, and my body just starts to stop. It chooses to shut down. I get very I can feel the earth rotating on its axis, and I hate that feeling.
You get very quiet.
Yeah, I become very quiet. I get grabby of things around me because I need stability, and it doesn't even have to be that high. We were doing the Seuss trolley thing, and that was uncomfortable for me.
And that's about 15 feet in the air?
It was leg breaking height. Yeah, I mean, if I fell, I probably would have survived.
Leg-breaking.
But
But you're doing better.
You know.
You went up in the Orlando Eye.
I did do the Orlando Eye. I would say this was less scary for me than the Orlando Eye.
Yes, you weren't cowering on the
once
floor
done.
like you were doing on the Eye.
Yeah, in the Eye, it's so slow moving. You're just like, God, I'm in this box, trapped, watching my death approaching slowly as it goes around a Ferris wheel of hell.
This time it approached quickly, and you made it through.
Yeah, I did. I closed my eyes. The feeling of being on the ride wasn't that bad. Wasn't the ones where you do this sort of a.
Corkscrew.
Yeah. Those
like that.
ones were the hardest for me. And this was actually, not only was this my first outdoor roller coaster, it was my first dangly leg roller coaster.
It's a suspended coaster.
Yeah.
That's a technical term too.
Dangly leg is technically, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that's what you guys are looking for, the term. But yeah, I've done like the Mummy and I've done Rock and Roller Coaster. But for some reason, and Rock and Roller Coaster was a huge deal for me when I did that. But I don't know what it is. You're indoors. It's all dark. It's a little less. It's
A little less dangly leggy.
Yeah, and whereas this is you can see the ride mechanism, and it's just this thin pole that you're just riding and waiting for the Grim Reaper to catch up to you. I don't know. So I get, but you know what? It wasn't that bad. It wasn't. Well, it was, but it was. I got off, and I was happy to have done it. I did immediately start having trouble walking again because that ride throws your equilibrium off like nobody's business.
However, it wasn't so bad that you didn't want to do it again because
Yes.
what did you say
I
when
did
we
say,
got off immediately after?
Let's get back in line and let's just do the other one.
Do the red sign.
Yeah. So I was riding that high, but
Did you do the red one?
No, I did the blue one.
But that was because Craig vetoed it. It's not because Rhino denied it.
Yeah.
You do realize that the red one is the Chinese fireball.
Ooh. That's from the
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know there are people out there who will ride both sides back to back, and that's a good life choice for those people. But for me, I'm getting to the age where I can't do that anymore. Ride them both back to back without feeling extremely sick.
It probably would
later on in the day. I can do one, go do a couple other things, then come back. Not a problem. But there's no point in feeling like crap for the next hour just because you wanted to ride two roller coasters at the same time.
And we also want him to go back and have a positive experience, so he'll go back and do them again. So we'll still get you on the red side at some point, right?
And I want to say that I'm going to throw this out here and say thanks to Julie and Corey's kids because they were really, when we went to Hershey Park this weekend, they, watching
shamed you.
The two of them have such good times and
shame.
We all went on roller coasters together.
Shame.
And
shame.
I did an upside down one with Craig's mom and cried on her. And
shame.
But they got me through it. The thought of those kids getting on that ride was what got me to get on the ride.
Are you doing
was your
a Game of
mantra.
Thrones reference right now? Okay.
I don't watch that show.
Oh, he's making you do the walk of shame.
Oh, the naked walk of shame?
Yeah.
Well, you would know it too from What We Do in the Shadows. Shame.
Oh, yeah. That movie's real funny. If anyone hasn't seen it, please go out and see it immediately.
But
it was good. And I said, you know what? Like when I was leaving the park that night, we walked out through Marvel Island and I stared at the Hulk and I thought, never.
It's much more intense.
But I'll say there's probably a better chance of getting me on that one than Rip Ride Rocket. That will probably never happen.
Those are two different experiences. I think Hulk at the end of the day is more intense than Rip Ride Rocket.
Really?
I agree with that.
But Rip Ride Rocket has a scarier factor to it. The fact that it goes straight up.
Yeah, that's the part I have the issue with.
And then it's
thing
pretty
is
fast and windy.
Yes. But that scary part only lasts 2 seconds, if that, and then it's just kind of, I don't know, feels kind of like breezy coasting after that. Whereas Hulk is great, and you definitely need to do it, but it is intense for the whole thing.
Well, I think part of my resolution had been to do every time I go to try and do a new thing too, and I have to say that yesterday I'm thinking about it now is that I did 3 things I'd never done before yesterday. So, and then I had to go renew my pass, and they were telling me that I've had a pass since 2011. And I was like, man, I've been going to this park for 4 years, and I still just managed to do 3 new things. So,
time to up your game.
just put that in perspective, people, And I've been enjoying myself every single time I go. It's never been boring or whatever. So yeah, I might be alive. I might be Bill Cosby and Ghost Dad right now. Who knows? But I did the ride, and here I am today.
I applaud you.
Thank you. Was Bill Cosby reference terrible?
Yeah,
I felt bad as soon as I said it.
I think we're past that.
Okay.
Bill Cosby, we can joke about that now. I feel like
It's not too soon.
Okay. I wasn't saying it in reference to that. I just watched that movie Ghost Dad a lot as a kid. I can go through stuff. Anyway, and he didn't know he was dead. That was the whole point. But I do have one other housekeeping thing while we're on it, because I did say I renewed my pass yesterday, and I just want to say thank you to the gentleman who helped me out, Steven. He was from Edwardsville, Illinois, at guest services at the studio side of the park. And I know he watches the show because I came up and immediately asked if I was on the show, and he recognized me by my annoying voice. And he made the situation very it was 2 seconds and done. He was super helpful. He helped me do everything. So I just want to say thank you to Steven, and awesome work. Thank you for chatting. That's it.
Jenny Lynn, anything from you?
No.
No?
I got nothing.
I thought you were...
I was just Rhino's cheerleader for
she was. She helped a lot.
That's all I got.
Okay, that's fine. I thought yours was going to be something about the dry pretzel, but that's fine.
Oh,
No,
do we want to discuss that?
We don't want to discuss that. We're not going there. We're not going there anymore because we have just a little bit to get through today. Not a lot. I think this is going to be a quick one. It'll be a fun one. but it will be a quick one. So let's jump right into it. So first off, before we get too far into it, let's explain Universal Hall of Fame again for those of you who don't know out there. That is the the Hall of Fame that we are making for the Diz Universal site, which you can find at universal.wdwinfo.com, and that's got all the crap that we put up that has to deal with Universal and some things beyond Universal as well. And
Ow.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, you just popped everyone's eardrums.
Ow. Okay.
told you, stop hitting the table.
I'm so psyched for Hall of Fame. I just had to pound the table real hard.
Emphasis.
God, you just bursted out the eardrums of people listening to this on their iDevices.
Sorry, peeps.
That means anything Apple related.
Sorry,
So,
Dave.
the Hall of Fame, yes, it's on our Diz Universal site, universal.wdwinfo.com, and the first ride we went to nominate and put in the Hall of Fame was Transformers The Ride 3D, and it did not make it in. Not a single person voted for it to go into it. So good job, people. You made the right decision. Our second one was Jurassic Park River Adventure that we just did a couple weeks ago in celebration of the grand opening of Jurassic World. And yes, Rhino has a T-shirt
He's
that
proud.
is Jurassic World related that he got last night that he's very happy
Very
about.
excited Look, it's got the two dinosaurs. I think this means I am the Indominus Rex. Because it's got the DNA twirled and thing. And
Okay.
the little
It's all very scientific.
And so then we also have one more that we were asked to do, but we still haven't done it, and that's Beetlejuice's Graveyard Mashup. We will get to that one.
It's
we were
gonna
there.
it's gonna be like my resolution.
No, we
were
really
too late
are.
for it yesterday, I think.
We're gonna get it. Yeah, we came in too late to the park, and then on top of that, we've been very studios heavy. I know we've also done a lot from Islands of Adventure with Jurassic World, but we haven't really been talking about the rest of the area besides just Jurassic Park section. So I wanted to give a little bit of love back over to Islands of Adventure, and like I explained earlier at the top of the show, we stopped into Seuss to do one thing, and then it just kind of snowballed and escalated there. And now we're going to just do Seuss Landing all in one. Not because we're really excited to do it, mostly because a lot of these attractions are smaller, and I don't feel like we could do them justice by giving them their own episodes each. There's not
Right.
really that much to say about Caro-Seuss-el.
I think it's the other way around. I don't think they could do our episode justice.
Yeah, that's right. That's perfect. And just as an update for the Jurassic Park one, the voting is still live on Disboards. The thread has disappeared into obscurity, of course, like most things do on Disboards after a couple weeks. And but so far, it is actually at I want to say the last time I checked it, yeah, everyone has so far voted for Jurassic Park. There are no votes against it going into the Hall of Fame. So at this point, considering it's essentially a dead topic, I think we should go ahead and just call it and say that Jurassic Park River Adventure is our first inducted attraction into the Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
So
to the
Jurassic
dinosaurs.
Park will be reaching out to you to give you your prize.
Paul McCartney will show up and play a concert.
He will.
I do have a question. So
Yes.
if it goes in unanimously, does that make it like a gold attraction or like a diamond attraction or something like that? Shouldn't there be like a level like
A tier.
Yeah, if you have 0 votes against you, that should be like the upper level. And
Okay.
then
Yeah, well, we can mess around with that. We can give it a gold one, and then we can tier it somehow. But we'll have to wait till we induct a little bit more to start seeing, because right now that's the only one. Like, who's to decide at that?
There's nothing
well,
to
us.
compare it to.
Yeah, we need something to compare it to. So we'll start out by giving it a gold banner, but then that opens the doors for silver and bronze. And
no.
Let's face
there
it,
should
who
just be
wants a-
unanimous,
who wants
and
a
if you
bronze?
vote against it, it's like whatever.
This
It's
was
just-
your
it's just
idea.
in there. No. But I'm just saying, like, there's only 2 tiers. It's if it goes in unanimously, that's you get a special, like an extra medal, and then other than that, you're just in it. You're just in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
Okay, we'll mess around with that whenever we get further into it. Maybe something will get inducted today. We still really haven't gone through it. The process. So I think the options, and maybe we can talk through it here real quick, is either we're going to put it all up in one giant pool. So either one of them goes in out of the 4, or we allow the top 2 to go in, or we say you can vote for none of them to go in, or you can vote write-in ballot.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we doing this only for Seuss, these new rules? Is this going to be only for Seuss Landing, or are these rules going to carry over into all the other lands?
I think special occasions.
Okay. So basically when, it hits you
whenever we
right.
deem it.
Whenever Craig feels like
Yeah.
at the moment.
Well, it's like I said, to do a full nice episode, we want a little girth on it. We want a little bulk. And some of these attractions, you can't, we could go on for a long time about why the Hulk should be in it or why Spider-Man should be in it.
Yeah.
And then we get to Storm Force Accelatron and we're going to be like, oh my God, why can't we just stop having this conversation about this?
My personal opinion is that we talk about all 4 today, but each attraction gets its own opportunity to make it into the Hall of Fame, and those polls, you can put it all in one poll, but
Okay.
have those be separate choices.
So
That's a good point.
Dustin is
I agree
pro.
with
He
Okay.
is he's pro multi attraction.
You can do
in a
you can
land.
do one swoop, but everyone should have the opportunity.
Yes.
It shouldn't be excluded just because we did the whole land. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying. Because
It's
then
all
it's
about
just
equality.
Then
And
it's
it-
personal. It's too personally opinionated. Well, I
mean-
guess that's what we're here for.
I was like, when was it
I don't know what I'm
not?
talking
I like the fight, though. I like the
Competition?
anger, the
You like the
competition.
competition.
Like some people out there,
Fierce.
let's be honest, right from the start, it's going to come down for most people. If they had to choose one out of the 4, it's going to come between Seuss Trolley and Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's a tough battle. But then again, maybe some families have fond memories of that one time they rode One Fish, Two Fish and got completely
Filthy
screwed
line
over.
ride.
But we'll get into that. But now that I think we've kind of discussed how we're going to handle this, let's jump into the first attraction. And the first one I want to do is the High in the Sky Seuss Trolley train ride. So I guess we should say right up front, we have very little pictures and videos for those of you who are watching this on your computers live or via YouTube later on, because all the attractions really in Seuss Landing, you are not allowed to take photos or video on anymore.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot to go with it, and we weren't around back in the day whenever you could, and we don't break rules because we're good people, But
Sometimes.
But so there's not a lot to go with it. So we will try to help you along with our
Please.
words and imaginations. Please?
Yes, please help.
We'll try. So High in the Sky Seuss Trolley train ride. It is essentially 2 rides in one because, you can go on one track that kind of tells you the story about the Starbelly Sneetches and the ones who did not have stars on their bellies.
beaches.
Was that us?
Yes.
Was that the one we went on yesterday?
No, that is not the one we went on yesterday.
Because they mentioned Sneetches in our ride. That's why I
Yes,
wasn't sure.
we did.
No, we did not. They mention it at the end of the ride
When
whenever
you
the
go over the
two
water?
come back
Oh.
up together. And they do mention Sneetches whenever you are over the water. We went on the other side that does the ABCs of Seuss Landing, as well as... I know it does mention the ABCs and all that, but I think it is more or less the kind of overview of the entire area, because it spends 99% of the ride completely outdoors, just going over Seuss Landing and saying, well, look now there's the Caro-Seuss-el, and there's you see that hat, that must be Cat in the Hat, blah blah blah.
And you see Sneetches on the beaches.
And you do see those, and you go right over the Zach's bypass, and it basically just tells you everything that's happening below. Whereas the other side, it takes you through Circus McGurkus, and you move around
Oh, yeah, I forgot
the
about
restaurant,
that.
and then you pop out, and then there's
And they do the
neat
stamp.
stories
you go
in there
through the area
too.
with the stamp, right? Like where the Sneetches get the star on their tummy.
Stars on Nars.
You know that. She's got it down.
Yes.
I love that
She brought
story.
her Cat in the Hat Cliff Notes today.
Why didn't we make this a rhyming only episode?
Oh, I would have went mental. I hate rhyming. I hate it, period, but I just hate when people do it for long periods of time. The How I Met Your Mother episode where they rhyme the whole time. There's a Third Rock from the Sun episode where a character will not stop rhyming, and it's just like, just the worst experience for me.
So
I'm sorry.
you're anti-rhyme all the time?
Murder you. I love Dr. Seuss, though. Don't get me wrong. Go on.
So those are the two sides to it. obviously you can ask if they're running both sides. You can ask for whatever side you would like to go on, and they will accommodate as much as they can for that. But yeah, it's a really cool ride. Express, of course, is accepted there. And one of the things to note, though, that's very important is that you think Dr. Seuss, this ride's going to be openly accessible for anyone that wants to go on it. That's not the case, actually. It does have a 40-inch height requirement to it, which is actually pretty tall for a ride.
A ride designed for like kids too. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, but
it makes sense because you are up so high, and they don't want anybody slipping out of their seat and falling, leg breaking death, whatever it was. What did you call it? Leg breaking height?
Yeah, leg breaking height.
Okay, so maybe not death.
That's over 10 feet.
They don't want people breaking their legs.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's some of the high points, especially on the track that we were on. There were some steep drops that actually probably would kill you if you could manage to get out of. Yeah, I mean, if you land the right way, like if you fall and you're like, oh, I'm going to try to hit my neck perfectly. Don't do that. That would hurt. I know
what'll solve this. Head first. The pavement.
There you go. You figured it out. And so, yeah, and the whole restraint mechanism with it, too, is very uncomfortable how it comes down. You would think that it would just be a nice lap bar that comes down your entire row, but
nope.
You're almost in like a lap bar roller coaster ride seating arrangement. So
it feels a little bit like a car seat, actually.
Yeah, because your butt like sinks in the back, and then
the
front raises your legs.
It's got the bar that comes between your legs, and yeah, it's a little bit awkward. But they don't want anybody getting out. So.
It forces you into like really great posture. You're just like the whole time very dignified as you go around this ride. Yeah, Seuss Landing. Very nice.
Posture patrol. So high in the sky Seuss trolley train ride. As you've said about everything, there's really not much more to describe about the ride than that. I know. It does have a little bit of history in how it opened up. It wasn't a day one attraction at
Seuss Landing?
Seuss Landing. No, it came much later on. I want to say...
well, they did a great job with it. I mean, it looks like it was always there. Like, it was always meant to be there.
I think the ride track was there for a long time, and it was almost intended for something else, or it was used for something else, but then it didn't open until later on. So while I find that information real quick, why don't we start on our actual opinions of the ride, and I'm going to start with JL.
I'll be very honest. I love this ride. This is my counterpart to the Disney Wedway People Mover.
It is very Tomorrowland Transit Authority.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the same way that the People Mover goes all the way around Tomorrowland and kind of mentions each attraction in the land, this one, as Craig has said, does the same thing for Seuss Landing. And I find it very relaxing. It's not too slow and it's not too fast. Depending on which track you get. I love the track with the Sneetches. Love it.
Me too.
Totally
I love
into
that
it.
Story.
Oh, me too. The other one's a little bit snooze-worthy. So it can be a different experience depending on which one you're going on, in my opinion. My kids are not that crazy about it because I guess they don't appreciate the relaxing aspect of it and they get a little bit bored. But, hey, it's a thumbs up for me. Do I have to say whether it's going to go in the Hall of Fame yet?
You can say whether or not you would want it to go in and what you think about it, but that doesn't mean it necessarily will happen.
I think she's asking, did she save for this one, or do we save at the end and say, like, which ones?
Yeah.
We can say it as we go along.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. This one's a toughie for me because to me, it depends on which track. Like, if we were exclusively talking about the Sneetches side, I would say yes. I like the idea of how you go through the track, and there's the part that actually feels like feels in air quotes, but you're supposedly going through where the Sneetches get their stars. I love that. The other one, I would say no. So how does that work? How would I say yes or no?
Well, that's the whole struggle with it. You have to decide as a ride overall with the technology that's put in place and with your enjoyment of it, how much you think that everyone enjoys it, then you have to put all those aspects together and decide if you think it's worthy of it.
All right, I'm going to go with yes then, and this is what's going to be the deciding factor for me. There is not another ride in the studio parks that works that way, that has that feel where it's a track where you can go along and it's just kind of chill and relax and take in the sights. I like that aspect of it, and since there's not a better alternative elsewhere in the parks, I'm going to say yes.
That adults can do. Because I think the Raptor, not the Raptor, the Pterodon Flyers,
yeah, that one.
I think that is like another kid equivalent. But what's cool about Seuss Landing is none of us are kids and we can do it.
Yeah, I've never done the pterodactyl. What did you call it?
Pterodon Flyers.
That one, I didn't do it.
People get them all mixed up all the time.
I've never done that one because my kids are too big and I'm excluded. So
we got a yes from JL.
I'm going with yes.
Dustin, you've ridden this before, haven't you?
I was gonna go last because this of the three, this is the one that I have not experienced, and I don't know that my opinion should count unless it's in a tie-break scenario, which won't actually happen with the number of people that we have.
Rhino, let's go with you then.
I agree with JL about it. It's a relaxing ride. It's got that nostalgia feel if you're an adult, or even for kids. I love the Sneetches was one of the animated Dr. Seuss cartoons we watched a lot when I was a kid. I am afraid of heights, and it's not like I have this like. I don't know how to describe it. It's just the way the trolley is set up. It just feels like because the track is so thin that I just feel like we're floating in the air or something. Like it doesn't give me that sense. It's just I feel weird out there. But at the same time, I appreciate that this ride exists like that because I think this is cool for somebody who like when I was a kid, they could have got me on this ride and I would have felt like I'm doing the other stuff that. That like this is my roller coaster. I mean, it's not a roller coaster, but we're up high.
That you were being brave.
Yes, exactly. And so you got
bragging
to be
rights for being brave.
Yeah, and you got to be up high like everybody else. You got to be like, there's the thing I did that went out and through tunnels and stuff like that. And it's true. You get a lot of like I love when you get to go into the circus part and you're like going through the restaurant. I love rides that do that. For the same reason as you like the People Mover, that same idea. Like I love that, and so I don't know. I would say yeah because I think this is a ride. Like if I were taking like a kid, do I have to put it in perspective of a kid or should it be for anybody?
No, you put it in perspective of you.
Whatever
I don't care about your opinion if you're trying to make up an opinion.
What?
Like if you're trying to say, well, if I had a kid, all that stuff. I don't care about your opinion if you had a kid and all that stuff.
Kids. I mean, I come to the park like I got friends who have kids.
I want to know about your overall opinion.
Uncle Ryan.
I haven't done that impersonation on this show yet, I don't think. But I did meet the Grinch though. Yes. Are we going to talk about that? Did you bring any of those?
I didn't bring those photos.
But sorry, I met the Grinch and he was sassy with me. But I would say I would put it in there because I like the design of it. I like the way it looks. I think it captures that feeling of Seuss really well. I love that there's two options of the ride, so it's a repeat worthy ride, which is always a plus in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a relaxing, just a nice ride to go on. Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay. Well, absolutely. I think it should be in. I completely disagree with JL though. I know you like the story of the star-bellied Sneetches, and it's a great story, but in terms of this ride, I don't like that side because I feel like there's more times where you're not outdoors and you're indoors and you get that ride. I think what's so unique about High in the Sky Seuss Trolley train ride is that you actually do get that time where you're over top of Seuss Landing. You get the best views of there, but you can even look out into the studios as well and see parts of that section, and then you have the rest of the park to essentially look at. I mean, I know it's hard to see further back into like the Wizarding World, but you get some great views of Lost Continent, all the way over to Toon Lagoon and a different side of Jurassic Park and Marvel. There's just so many cool aspects of it, and you do get the story. So for people who like the story with the Sneetches, you have that aspect, and you can play along. Like on that side of the track, they do like there's a narrator to it that will say like, now make this noise, blah-la-la-la-loo. And so then if you're having fun, the last time I did it with Julie, I mean, we were going nuts on it. We were like, blah-la-la-loo. And it was a good time, but there's that option there, and then the other side, you're just kind of like, okay, this is happening. More of that chill, unique aspect of it, like the people mover, and I think it really is a very unique ride, and there's nothing like it else at Universal, with the exception of saying that all ET's kind of easygoing like that too, but that's all indoors. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's not the same idea or concept.
I think it works perfect for all ages, for everyone who can ride it, and it just, for me, it should go in. And to go back on the history aspect that I was trying to go at before, it did not open until 2006, and whenever it did. Originally, it was supposed to be called Sylvester McMonkey McBean's Highly Unusual Driving Machines, but because of the technology behind it, they could never get it open, and then it morphed into the Seuss Trolley, which is there now. So, Dustin, do you want to throw your weight in, guessing from a side of someone who hasn't even done it?
Let's go with it. Yeah.
Will you ever? Do you ever think you'll do it?
Every time I try to go over there, there's a long line.
Yeah, don't wait in don't wait in a long line.
It's sometimes the line is like ridiculously long, and then other times you can walk right on. So it's,
Yesterday was the shortest I've ever waited for it.
We barely waited at all for it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Something that we didn't bring up before is that Sky Trolley always has a super long line if it's middle of the day, going into the busy times. And then if you just time it right at the end of the night, you have that nice sunset or nighttime ride, and it's much more manageable with the line. So keep that in mind, too, whenever you're going to do it. Moving on, we are going to jump into Caro-Seuss-el. Caro-Seuss-el, well, what is it? It is the carousel with Seuss characters. And
movable parts.
Movable parts on the characters. You may ask, what kind of characters are there? Well, there's elephant birds, twin camels, cowfish, mulligatanis, aqua mop top dogs, dogalopes, and plenty more. And if you understood anything that I just said, then you get an A+. There's just really not much to say about it. It's a carousel. And it does have that fun aspect of you can ride around on it and you can choose your own unique character. Like whenever we were waiting in line to do this, Rhino, which you need to do it in your niece's voice whenever you get there, but Rhino sees this elephant that he has to ride, and he goes, I want to ride the pink elephant. And well, actually you wanted to ride the blue elephant.
Yeah, but some girl took it, so I had to do the pink one. But that's okay. Pink's my favorite color. She's a funny little girl.
We love you, Clara.
You'll hate him later for it.
Grow up and say this.
It's you do get that aspect of choosing the fun character, and then once you get onto it, like you guys both had, if you pulled on the reins, then it was like the mouth was going.
I want to point out too the elephant that I was waiting for. I didn't realize was the child's sized riding elephant, and so I was basically on my knees in this ride, so I was like hitting my shins against the foot holder.
Did I have the big people elephant then? What was I on?
You both had regular,
flapping
like the big
ears.
Ones,
and it was, I could barely get up on it. I had to, it was like climbing Mount Everest to get up on it.
Yeah, and I was on the
one of the
ostrich-looking type thing that had a handlebar with it, and you would turn the handlebar, and it would make its head go back and forth. And like you, as a tall person, I had a tremendous amount of difficulty getting up onto this ride. And I chose the bigger one because someone like you would have never been able to get up on there.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I'm a good little climber. I got up there, but, you know, it wasn't easy peasy.
Well, and the dismounting was even harder because all these animals have these, like, crazy butts and tails and stuff. So
you have to swing your leg.
Yeah, it's not like the horse where you're like, there it is. It kind of like curves up real high. So even on the little pink elephant there, I got stuck, and then I'm watching Craig trying to get off of his, and I was like, how's he going to swing his leg?
So is it kind of safe to say the two outer animals are more for adults and the 2 inner animals, or maybe more for smaller children?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think on most carousels, specifically Disney carousels at their parks, it goes like that. The outside ones are the bigger, and then as you travel further in, the horses get smaller, so it can accommodate children who would have a little bit more trouble getting up there on their own. So,
Do you guys celebrate your outer animal or your inner animal, the one that lives inside of you? Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Okay.
I celebrate the inner, and I like to show the outer.
Everything you do.
Okay.
Wrong podcast.
Wrong. Yeah, not the right one. So, I'm going to go first, unless we have anything else to say about
No, I
Caro-Seuss.
think that's enough.
I'm going first. No, it never has any right to be in any Hall of Fame. It's a great ride for families to go on, something to burn time whenever it's raining outside. It's actually one of the few rides at Universal Islands of Adventure that can stay open because everything there's outside with the exception of this one. I mean, it's outside, but it's got a roof over top of it so it can stay open. Then you have Forbidden Journey, Poseidon's Fury, and Storm Force Accelatron, and Spider-Man. Other than that, everything's outside, so it'll shut down whenever. And Cat in the Hat, sorry, too.
Craig, can you do me and the audience a favor and explain your criteria for making it into the Hall of Fame? What are you looking for in an attraction?
Well, in terms of the criteria, it just needs to be technologically advanced it doesn't even have to be it has to be technologically sound in what it's used for. So, like, part of why Transformers wouldn't have made it in for me is because although the 3D graphics and all the ride through is impressive, it just used the same technology as Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't.
And I think that technology, we decided it wasn't being used in the same way that Spider-Man was being used,
yes.
like with its surroundings. So we were saying it wasn't going to hold up either. The technology wouldn't make it much.
So you have that aspect, and then just total enjoyment. Obviously, if I hate a ride, I don't want it to be on there. Whereas if someone loves it, they're going to probably vote for it right away. And then you have to look: is it something that can be inclusive to a lot of people, or is it? You just have to take all those factors in it together.
I also look at the aspect: is it timeless?
Yeah.
For me, Transformers is
perfect.
not.
Yeah. And a carousel in general can be a timeless classic attraction, but this one, it's just kind of taking up space. I mean, people are always riding on it, and you have it, and you have it for a good reason. But at the same time, if they bulldoze this tomorrow, I wouldn't be upset about it. It would just be gone. So I can't say yes to it for that reason.
I agree with you.
Rhino?
I mean, I think I thought about that yesterday. Like, I was thinking if this wasn't here and they decided to put another attraction in, is anybody gonna, you know what I mean? Is there gonna be like a Facebook group or whatever? Are people gonna petition together and try and get it to be stopped? You know, it's not Back to the Future or whatever. It's just it's a carousel. It's cool. You know, a carousel's a carousel though. Like, there's nothing innovative about it. It's just they're the crazy Seuss animals, so it's cute. I like that it's there, but yeah, you're right. Like, if it went away tomorrow, it wouldn't matter, and it is what it is.
I mean, after 3 rotations, we
getting
were
sick.
saying to ourselves, like, okay, when is this going to be over?
Yeah, how many times can you go around is what I started thinking. Like, I was just like, all right.
And what music does it play?
The Seuss soundtrack, I think,
Yeah, it's
to the
like
land.
just goofy Seuss music.
Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Dustin.
I'm in agreement with you guys. I have done this ride, and I've been around this ride. You walk past it every time you go through Seuss Landing. I agree with everyone's sentiments here that, you know, at the end of the day, it is a carousel. It does have the cool Seuss animals, and some of them are interactive, and that's different, and, you know, and that's neat. But my criteria is pretty much spot on with what Craig and what JL said, and it doesn't meet that criteria. It's not. It doesn't have that something special.
Fantastic. JL.
You guys have pretty much said it all. It gets summed up in it's a carousel. So, I mean, my kids like it, but it is one of those rides that you do if you're wanting to kill time. It's not something you go to Universal Studios to do.
And we
So-
should you make a good point saying like it's just a carousel because like I'm thinking about like the Disneyland carousel. You know, there is an emotional connection to that because it's very specific, whereas this is just a carousel put in place.
Yeah, you know that it's there because they had space and they needed to put something else there. It doesn't speak of a specific Seuss story. Yeah, it's got some cute characters. I do like that they move. I like that they gave it that creative edge as far as carousels go, but it's a carousel. So, I mean, the world will continue to
Go
revolve
around?
on
Like
its
a carousel.
axis rather. Right, exactly. But the carousel isn't necessary. So, yeah, that's just it's great. It's nice. Do it with your kids, not Hall of Fame.
Yep, I agree. The next one might be a tough one, though, because the next one is The Cat in the Hat. The Cat in the Hat is the Cat in the Hat story, essentially, in a ride version. Bless you.
Sorry,
If you're not
everybody.
banging the table, you're sneezing. I swear.
That's the name of my first album.
Oh, that's... How many did it sell?
None.
None? Okay.
My mom.
And you gave it to her. Right?
Yeah. So, Cat in the Hat, you are walking through the queue, and it's all outside of the actual house, the house from that the family lives in. You'll have to correct me. I know Sally and
I don't
what
remember.
the boy's name?
Salaminio.
What?
I'm just guessing.
Oh, it is Sally and what is his name? He's so...
I didn't know they had names.
forgettable,
To be honest, with you. I
apparently.
thought they were just. Did they get Did they have the names in the book?
Yeah, it's Sally and somebody.
I'll look it up. Go
Okay,
ahead.
look it up. And so, you make it, it's a rainy day outside, and you get into their house, and that's whenever you jump on a couch and you start to go through the story of The Cat in the Hat, which is a zany story. As you know, the Cat in the Hat comes in because it's a rainy day and they can't go outside to play, rhyming. And then... hijinks ensue, and out of the world comes Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Oh God, you're reading. You're so
No, I'm not. It's just so easy to
So
rhyme.
awesome. This
not
is
bothering me yet. If
this is
it goes on
Craig's
for
Jurassic Park episode.
If it goes on for an extended period of time, it starts to grate on me.
Before you know it, the house becomes a mess.
Go ahead.
And then further along in the ride, you end
Rhino
up in the
gets real
closet
stressed.
where Mother keeps her dress. Is.
That actually happens.
It does happen. And so you go through and the house is destroyed, just exactly like the story if you've ever seen it before. And I know we joked, not the awful Mike Myers movie.
I'm familiar with the original Cat in the Hat lore. Oh, I fell into the rhyme trap. You said, has anybody seen it before?
Rhyme trap.
No! It's like, you know what this reminds me of? You know why I don't like it? And this is why I love the Grinch movie with Jim Carrey in it. When he's up on the mountain and he starts saying the thing, and then he's like, I'm speaking in rhyme! And he just goes and says something again, and he rhymes again, and he's just like, before. Like, he just gets so upset. God, I'm going to watch that movie tonight. Christmas in July. Go ahead.
The Cat in the Hat movie's terrible. One of Mike Myers' worst performances he's ever given.
He was forced
and-
into that. Let's not.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It's an awful movie. The book's classic. And then, out of nowhere, the Cat in the Hat gets a contraption that cleans the house and everything's okay. And that brings along sunny days.
There's no. So if you Google the Cat in the Hat characters' names, it says Thing 1, Thing 2, Sally, Walden, the Cat in the Hat, Fish.
So
the boy doesn't.
The boy
it doesn't
have
list
a name.
the boy's name.
So it's Sally and
That can't be
Sally's
right.
brother. We'll go with
Sally
that.
and her brother?
Sally and her brother.
No way that's what it is.
That's what we're going with, though. And I forgot about the fish.
Conrad.
The fish is in there too, trying to keep things. He's Conrad.
Yeah, but this says 2003 Cat in the Hat. It could be the movie.
Oh,
They
so
could have
according
named
to
him
the
for
movie, it's Conrad. According to real life, we're just saying brother right now, unless someone can correct us later on by writing into UOpodcast at disunplugged.com. So the Cat in the Hat is a
Dick and Sally.
Dickens.
Oh, that makes sense. Every Tom, Dick, and Sally.
The Cat in the Hat. Dr. Seuss. Dick and Sally.
Okay. We'll go with Dick and Sally.
Settled.
I don't care anymore. It no longer matters. We spent too much time on their names. So,
Who's to blame?
Oh my God! Let us
You
move
got him.
on.
You got him
please.
on the.
The theming, once you're inside the ride building, is I think it starts out wonderfully because the queue is extremely air conditioned. There's little hidden things everywhere, like you can see the kids in the window looking outside. Some of the text from the book is projected up onto the walls, and then once you get into the ride, I mean, this was an opening day attraction, so it looks a little rough around the edges. It's been rehabbed and refurbed at times, but for the most part, it looks like I'm guessing it did whenever it opened up, and you can tell. The use of animatronics is just like any other dark ride because that's what this is, just kind of like a dark ride on a little bit of crack because it does have that minor spinning involved into it. It used to be a lot more, and it's cut down, because of making people sick, and then also idiots trying to keep their cell phone out during the ride and dropping it in the ride track.
That wasn't this one. That was on the train.
No, that was on this one.
No, but I had my phone in my hand, and not to do anything with it, and the guy was like, "Put it in here." Oh,
Yes,
I thought you were referencing the story where my phone fell out into the ride track.
No.
That did happen to me on the.
See,
the
it would help
carousel
if you
thing.
were paying attention.
I was reading about the Cat in the Hat.
Oh, okay, well.
We were still
Paying
researching
attention.
Dick and Sally.
Yeah, so, obviously no loose articles left out because this stuff will happen. And the ride vehicles can be very tight because they're 3 and 3 in the front, 3 in the back, and whenever you try to squeeze 3 adults in there, it can get just a little bit challenging. But it does help with the spinning, that you're not flying around all the left and right. But another good aspect of this ride is there is no height requirement on it, so you can bring every Tom, Dick, and Sally on this ride if you want to. So, what do we think about the Cat in the Hat?
Well, I've got an
Dustin.
I've got an important question to ask.
Yes.
From a Disney perspective, this seems to be one of the few rides that Universal has. Maybe E.T. could be thrown in the mix. That could really compare to like a Disney-style dark ride. So, how do you guys feel like it compares, and technology-wise, story-wise? What do you think?
I'll actually go from the start of this. Whenever I first started riding Cat in the Hat, I would say that it was absolutely on the level with a Disney dark ride. And since then, things have changed because I finally have gotten out to Disneyland and I've gotten to see stuff like Alice in Wonderland, which is probably
that's tip-top.
the best dark ride that Disney has done. And just like the Pinocchio ride and all that. There are so many good dark rides out there. I think whenever this ride gets the TLC that it needs, it's right up there. And I think it's better than some at Disney. I'm not going to say which ones because I don't want to start riots popping out, but I do think it's better than some of the Disney dark rides, absolutely. Okay. It tells a more concise story than some of them do. Like, I know on the Disney World show, Kathy will talk about, well, I didn't need to ride this ride to understand the story. And for some of them, I say, well, that's a stretch. Like, I love Peter Pan. And it shows the scenes in the story in a nice sequential order, but it doesn't tell the story. This literally
one actually
tells the story.
Like verbally, it tells you the story.
Yeah. And for that, I think it gets a lot of credit going there. Right now, though, as of when we wrote it yesterday for the research for this show, this ride needs some love. The speakers are going out of sync at some point. Yeah. The animatronics and all that, they still look good. They were all operating really well. I mean, they're still creepy. Like, the Cat in the Hat is a creepy animatronic, and some of the projections that happen in there whenever they use like the 3G or the 3D computer graphic Cat in the Hat, whenever that pops out, it's really not it's not happy. It's disturbing. But
it's
the
very
sound
jarring because he's not the same design of the Cat in the Hat either. Like this. The cool thing about this ride is it has its own unique, like, it's the white with the black scratches everywhere, like in, how Dr. Seuss, I almost called him Theodore Gissel, but the scratches, that style is in there, but then you get to the 3D Cat in the Hat, and it just looks like, who put this here? Where did you come from? I don't know, it felt weird to me yesterday.
And just all the audio was awful, at least from our seats. And when we were going through, I couldn't hear half of the things that were happening.
Missing it, and I didn't realize they were doing the story till near the end because I was missing the rhyming parts too.
The big one for me is whenever the Cat in the Hat was on his cleaning contraption at the end, and you could see his mouth moving, and you could hear the faint glimmer of sound coming out, but it just, I wasn't hearing it, and I think this ride does have the potential to be part of a Hall of Fame, but if it's in the state that it's in right now, no, it's not. They need to upkeep it. If they let it fall into disarray, then that's when people are going to stop riding it. They're going to stop liking it, and it's just going to go away without a lot of uproar. So I'm 50-50 on this. It would just depend on the day that I'm voting, whether or not I would want to. Nostalgia side for me, yes. It could be so much better right now than it is. That would make me a no.
So which one is it?
I can't decide.
We'll see. We can come back to it and see if it becomes a deciding factor.
I mean, we're not. The people are the ones voting on these, not us. So it doesn't matter what we say here. We're just giving our opinions.
Okay.
And then we can go and vote later if we want to and be a part of the people.
Well, you guys both brought up the Alice in Wonderland ride at Disneyland, which I just got to do with you guys when we went, and that ride was awesome. And I know that ride was like recently refurbished in the last couple of years, right? Like, and if they did what they did with the Alice in Wonderland ride to this Cat in the Hat ride, because there was a lot of downtime in the ride, not downtime, like empty space. I almost feel like the parts that have the animatronics and the scenes of the house with like the refrigerators opens or like the Cat in the Hat cleaning machinery, those are awesome, and you feel like you're there. But sometimes we were in like weird hallways that it'd be like you're taking the corner and then this wall has nothing on it, or like it's just got lines that somebody painted on. And I even pointed out to you guys like where you could see the neon paint was showing through underneath where they had painted. So it looked like something somebody had done with like finger paints or some sort of like second grader or something, and not what I would have expected from a theme park. But I loved the parts that have the animatronics and stuff in it. So if they could take the notes of the Alice in Wonderland dark ride and how they upped that into being so cool, and and we rode that multiple times. Like, I think this could be something like that where I could see myself going on multiple times and like really enjoying it, especially now that it doesn't spin like an insane person down the hallway.
It has a mild spin to it, not an extreme one.
So, well,
did you say yes or no?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm divided. Like, I thought when we started this conversation I was going to say no, but the more I think about it, I don't know. I'm probably leaning toward like it could be in there because it's a great. I love that it's a children's thing. Cat in the Hat, I think, is a great children's book. I think I'm going to say yes. And.
Okay. Well, JL, do you want to give us your opinion on it?
Okay. So with me, without hesitation, it's a yes. I do know that it needs to be updated and it needs a little love, as you say. I'm trusting that that's going to happen. The reason why I'm saying yes is because it's a classic tale that has already shown itself to be timeless. This is something that is going to be able to last through generations. And the attraction captures the essence of the story with, like you were saying, with such I don't know how to describe the amount of it, but it's perfectly there. The fact that it's a little bit alarming and disturbing, all of that you get a little bit of a sense of a panic. Yeah. That's all the stuff that happens when you read the story. You relive the feelings that you had reading the story as a child when you're on the ride. And I think it's so well done. The animatronics are great. There's enough of a creep factor to it to make, to hold interest, and it surprises. It keeps you're not panicked, but you're still a little bit on edge. And I love it that they're able to bring this and still have it be a family-friendly ride.
I have to agree with everything you just said too. So me being on the edge, I'm definitely a lot further in the yes now because of what you just said.
Okay, Dustin.
Well, we've got two 50-50s here and a firm yes. Well,
I'm gonna change it to yes.
Okay, 2 yeses and a 50-50. I'm a firm no on this.
No, okay.
I feel like talking about the criteria that we just talked about, it doesn't necessarily fit. I know it's hard to like compare to Disney in the terms of what we're trying to do with a Universal Hall of Fame, but see, I haven't ridden this recently. I rode it probably 4 or 5 years ago, and while it's really nice, and it's good for families and stuff like that, it again doesn't have that special something that I think something like Alice in Wonderland could have, or something like even the Winnie the Pooh rides that they have at both Disney Magic Kingdom parks. It's almost there, but it's not quite there. And I think that's just because Universal does adult better than they do kids. And for that, I've got to say no on this.
Okay.
It's funny you brought up Winnie the Pooh because I even said to them while we were on the ride, I was like, this is their version of the Winnie the Pooh ride.
Yeah.
Which if we were talking about like Hall of Fame at Disney, I would have not put that in there.
Okay. Well, we'll let the people decide on that one. And our last one, but not least, 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. So not
Rhino's
I
bitter.
don't know if
Not
I
a
agree
lot
with not
hard,
the least, but that's fine.
but not the least. Not one that's really difficult to discuss here because it is your classic hub and spoke spinning ride like Dumbo, Aladdin,
The Red Bear.
Magic
Triceratops
Carpet.
spin.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them at carnivals. We've seen them anywhere. They're cookie cutter attractions that just have a little bit of a different feeling to this one. This is obviously Dr. Seuss, so you have some red fish that are solos, some blue fish that are solos, some 2 fishes, some yellow fish. You've got all the fish from the story: 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. What sets this attraction apart from other spinning ones is that it has the massive water aspect to it, and that there is this awful song that plays as you're going along with this soul singer that just will start calling out commands. They'll do a little verse, and then she'll go like, 1 fish, red fish, up, 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 2 fish, blue fish, down, 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 and then it's repeated by some creepy child's choir. The song's just awful, and it's terrible if you're sitting there listening to it as you're watching the attraction. It's even worse if you're on, because right now, at least, I would probably say at least 2 or 3 of the speakers were completely out.
Yeah, so I was like
you're
leaning
listening.
out the side,
We
being
were-
like, JL, you control it. And
We
I'm
were
like,
both totally stressed out trying to hear this song.
Because we didn't want to get wet on it. We had other stuff we needed to do and had our phones and all that stuff. So we're just going on it and like, okay, we're going to follow the instructions and we're going to get out of this safe and we're going to kind of keep watching. And so after the first command, I'm up at the top because that's where I'm supposed to be. You guys are down below. You got wet.
we tried to
And then-
follow the
Yeah,
rhyme the best
so-
we could.
Yeah, let's discuss this. Okay, so we're told that if you follow the lyrics to the song, that gives you the secret to staying dry on the ride because they have different spouts at different levels that spit out water at different times. Rhino needed a little bit of moral support, so I rode with him in our fish so that we could both use 2 brains to try to avoid the spouts. We followed that song to precision. That's not a real phrase. I don't know what I just said. We followed it exactly as it said to, and the ride even had little light up arrows up and down that would light up when you're supposed to go up and when you're supposed to go down. We did this thing exactly as we were supposed to do, and we got wet every single time.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, it wasn't just once. Like, it wasn't just a mistake. Like, it was almost purposeful that we got wet every single time.
Except for the last part where they tell you that it's a flat out surprise and you can either go low or high, and at that point you start to figure out when you can look and see which ones are going, so you can aim to make it the way you want to. But this right now, this ride is a complete lie.
It's a farce.
It's a lying son of a, the last one.
Son of a fish.
It's a lying son of a fish, and
Son of a Lorax.
and we got wet on it, but it was okay. We didn't melt. That's the ride and
No, it was fun.
In
I mean, it
general.
was a fun experience. It was one of those they were asked like 3 cast members if you could not get wet.
Team
And they were
members.
like, whatever. They didn't mean dismiss them. Team members, yeah. They were just like, follow the song.
Yeah, they did. They all told us to follow the song, and then they kind of gave us this like
A weird laugh.
and you're
But
like, what
that's-
does that mean?
that's great because they're going with the theming. It's like whenever you get pissed off because you go ride Tower of Terror and the person's just, hi guys, welcome to the Hollywood Tower
Okay.
Hotel.
You're like-
Come on, step on in. Like it's, thanks. You just ruined the freaking ride for me because you broke theming. At least they were doing this here. I am gonna throw it to Dustin. Hall of Fame worthy or not?
Yeah, this is a no. I mean, it actually is one of the more unique, rides of its type. But still, I'm reserving this for something that's got to be real special, and I just don't think it is.
Okay.
Sadly enough.
Can I go next?
JL.
Okay, I kind of feel the same way about this one as I do about the carousel. It's a very common type of concept for a ride. They do give it the extra little creative aspect where it spits water and you need to follow a song, which ends up not being helpful at all. But it's just one of those rides and not... And plus, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish is a great Dr. Seuss book, but it's not Cat in the Hat or the Sneetches with the
Grinch.
stars on theirs or the Grinch, right? So I'm saying no.
Rhino.
Yeah, I'll say no too. Just because, I mean, it's like what we talked about. Like it's exactly what Dustin said. It's cool that they took the spinning ride or the Red Baron, whatever thing ride, and they turned it into this thing. But it's not. It's still just like the carousel. It is what it is. Like,
Yeah, it is, but I think it is the most unique version of a hub and spoke ride that I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
And-
agree.
nobody's disagreeing with you on that.
And I look at some, I know like over at Disney, people would consider Dumbo a Hall of Fame attraction. It's a lot of people pride themselves on that's one of their first rides for their kid riding in Dumbo.
But-
this ride isn't necessarily known as the same thing, but at the same time, I also will look at the happiness of people on their faces as they're going around. And this is one of these ones where you see more happy people on this type of ride than you see on other versions of
I'm
this
going to
ride.
say the difference between this one and the Dumbo ride at Disney is because
There's
just
history.
because it's iconic.
Yeah.
The Dumbo
Yeah.
ride is
Was that an
iconic. It
opening
was
day?
open on opening
Yeah.
day. And it's just in all of their ads, you think of, your 2-year-old on this iconic Dumbo ride that's been there since the 70s or whatever.
That's really why I do Dumbo.
You don't have that. That's not attached to this Dr. Seuss One Fish, Two Fish.
Dr. Seuss has just as strong as a following. Just because there isn't a theme park
But-
doesn't mean
right,
there is
no,
not
but
that
it's-
following.
It doesn't
It's
have
not.
the history,
It doesn't
though,
have
the ride itself.
attached to the park. It doesn't have the same iconic standing that Dumbo does.
And
That's all that it is. It's not that Dumbo's amazing and fantastic, and we want to ride it 4 times a day. I mean, I'm sure there are some that do, but it's not that it's that fantastic of a ride. It's just simply the iconic aspect of it.
Yes, but there's always two sides to it, and so like I love Dumbo, the character of the movie. I could, if whenever they got rid of it and moved it over to the new section of New Fantasyland, if it would have never came back, so be it. There's
See, I that's you though. I think there's a large group of people that would
Yeah.
like
That there would be an uproar about
It's the
that.
same way I said about the carousel at Disneyland. Is
I think you're proving his point, though. I think
you
you're
are literally falling into my point.
No. I said that if at Disneyland the carousel would be in a Hall of Fame, but the one here wouldn't be. And the same with Dumbo. I think Dumbo at Disneyland or Disney World would be in a Hall of Fame, but I don't think this type of a ride anywhere else except for those, because it doesn't have the history attached to it. And I don't even mean the history of the movie. I just mean there's just some things that are, I don't know. Universal doesn't have that age to it yet, so it doesn't have like I guess E.T., but that's. I still think Islands is so new that there's nothing like emotionally attached to it yet necessarily.
You haven't attached anything emotionally to it. That doesn't mean someone else hasn't attached something emotionally to it. I think it stands up. And part of the Hall of Fame wouldn't be a good Hall of Fame if you didn't allow some of these classic style attractions into it. And if you were going to put in something like that, no, Caro-Seuss-el doesn't have enough that makes it unique. This does. It has a soundtrack that goes along with it that specifically tells you what to do. Whenever it works right, then you won't get wet on it, but you also have the option to just get completely soaked on it. And it's based off of a classic story that is still around to this day and will be around for a lot longer, because the park's only been open now for going on 16, 17 years. Yeah, it hasn't had enough time to develop into a classic attraction, but it's been there so long so far. I would say no, that this should not be in the Hall of Fame. So,
but I see what you're saying.
Looked like you were going to say yes, but here's my feelings on it. Like after that, and what we've said, the whole thing though is just like I don't know if I actually believe any of the individual attractions 100% should be in a Hall of Fame. I think the land itself should be. It's like one of those great holes, but when they're separated, they don't mean as much.
Well, we are going to let everyone else decide, and we can obviously vote on them too. The voting will be on the boards, so the link to that will be in the show notes, and then also just check out this boards. They will probably be in the Universal section of the boards, not the podcast section, so that way it's with other Universal people who don't necessarily watch the show might start watching afterwards if they see it popping up on there. And so just go on there and you'll be able to find the voting, and you can vote whether or not you want each individual attraction to go into the Hall of Fame. And remember, our show notes can be found at disunplug.com, and just look for the blue Universal portion, and that's where you'll find the show notes to all of our shows with the links and any pictures that go along with it. And it's the hub of information for everything, including the other 3 shows that we do, the Disney World, Disneyland, and the Trip shows. So definitely check that out. As I said before, you can write to us at uopodcast@disunplug.com. We will eventually do another email show whenever we have enough. And besides that, just follow us on iTunes and or subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube and Facebook, Twitter, all the social media pages for all our updates that we always post. And definitely give us all of our feedback and criticisms, because we need it to get better. Otherwise, we just continue sucking. And it's starting to get really upsetting sucking this much. So, okay. With that is going to do it for this episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. We will be back next week with a special episode, but until then, remember, Seuss is universal.